4 Off the Block. I'm Vinny Lips, and we are now joined by Mount Olive men's volleyball head coach David Heller as his team. Coach, you look at the college men's volleyball landscape right now. There's only 2 teams undefeated in conference play this season. Number 1, Ohio State, and then you guys. What has been the key for your guys' success so far this season in Conference Carolina play?
I definitely think that it's been our dedication to hard work. I think that the guys are really starting to recognize that it's not just sticking to a scouting report, but it's the team that makes adjustments in game that's able to make the wins, and that's really come up big for us the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, talking about one of your players in particular who's gotten a lot of notoriety in the last couple of weeks has been Robert Poole. A couple of weeks ago, he was the National Player of the Week. Can you just talk about his level of play this season and what he's been able to do to really elevate his game?
Absolutely. I mean, Robert represents his country in the summer on the beach, and that really adds to the versatility of his game. I mean, he's left-handed, so naturally he's an opposite. This year we've actually moved him to the outside, so he's in passing 6 rotations for us, attacking from the left side, and having to block in a different position and play defense in a different position. We'll move him around a couple of times so he's able to hit from the right side of the back row, kind of whatever works for us in certain games. And, his versatility really makes him a great player to coach. And the rest of the team really does a great job of supporting him in that role. I think that it's very difficult to move from one position to something else, especially if you're taking somebody else's spot or, just trying to get used to it. But the team has really embraced the changes that we've made this year, and it's worked out really, really well for us.
Yeah, well, talking about some of the changes, what has been one of the 2 biggest changes that you guys have made from last season?
I think that we have also had just changes in the amount of leadership in the group, in that we're now an older group as far as we've got more juniors and seniors than we've had the last 3 or 4 years. We've had a lot of freshmen and sophomores, and now that we kind of have a larger number of upperclassmen, and that's really helped us a lot. I would say another big change for us is our 2 setters. Shane Yo and Jeff Yassalonis have been battling back and forth. I mean, it really split time at that position, and there are 2 team captains. And it's very rare that you have those 2 people that play the same position that are as good working with each other as those 2 are. They really drive, regardless of who's with our starters and who's not with our starters. They make both sides better, whichever side they're on. And I think that that's been a really, really great thing to see this year.
Yeah. And just to ask, because you've had lots of coaching experience, how rare is that you have a battle for a starting setter position and it's gone so smoothly?
I think that it's a 1 in a million, and I'm very lucky to have the ability that no matter who's in, I mean, they've both won big matches for us. Shane started off the year setting out in California. Jeff stepped in. Jeff had a couple of not-so-great games in conference. We were down 2 sets. Shane went in, and we went against Emmanuel, and then he set for a couple of matches, and now Jeff's gone back in. So it's been really good to see them battle and make the team better, and then still support the other person that's in their position. They come off, they're still telling the other setter where to block, where to play defense, hitter tendencies, things like that, and they do a really great job. And it's a testament to them as players what they want to do for this team.
Now, Coach, to open the season, you really put together a challenging schedule, going out to play in the UC Santa Barbara Invitational, playing some nationally ranked opponents. I know you weren't able to pull the upset in any of those matches, but what was the biggest thing that you feel that you guys were able to learn from that tournament that you're able to incorporate into the Conference Carolina season?
I mean, we got to play against some of the national leaders in different stat categories. I mean, Stanford's having a great year. There's a big block for us to be able to see something like that. Their ball control is amazing. So I think if we were able to control ourselves in those situations, thing that really helps us now, we got to see Dimitar Kalchev from Northridge is served. If we can keep him from scoring on us, there's not a lot of teams in our conference that should be scoring on us if we can get that ball up. There were some really great players. We took a set off at UC Santa Barbara, and, they're having a great year too. And I think that it really helped build our confidence knowing that there are teams that we can compete really well with. We haven't gotten those wins yet, but I think the more that we play those teams, the stronger we become in our mentality when we get to play out of conference.
Yeah. Well, Coach, a big match coming up on Wednesday night, playing your rival Barton at home. Can you just talk about that match and what you're expecting, from it?
Yeah, I'm expecting some good volleyball, hopefully, from both sides. I think I really respect what Jeff's done over at Barton. He's just done an awesome job of recruiting and bringing in some really, really strong talent. I mean, they're young too. They're freshmen and sophomores. Their center's senior, but I mean they're a young squad doing some really, really nice things. They run a really fast offense. And it's nice that we get to play them in the fall because they're so close. A couple of our guys went to a leadership academy together with some of their players, and so I mean it's nice to be able to have some good camaraderie with our big rival. But I'm expecting to see definitely some players show up. I think Vasilis and Robert, they know each other from going to school near each other in the UK. They've known each other for a while, and they're both two big hitters, one for Barton and one for us. I'm interested to see how they're going to play against each other tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and just to ask, going off that, because your schools are pretty close in proximity, just what is the rivalry like between Barton and Mount Olive?
It's definitely strong, and it's in all sports. I think that because Conference Carolinas is fairly spread out across, 4 different states now. We're the two that are regarded as being the ones that are the farthest away, but we're the closest in proximity to each other of any of the schools. So I think that it just, they're close to us. If we lose a recruit to them or they lose a recruit to us, it just kind of intensifies that battle. Or knowing that we're the farthest east schools in the conference, we try and, show which one's going to be the best in the east part of the conference. So, but it's definitely not just in volleyball. In basketball, track and field, all of our sports, the rivalry is real for sure.
Yeah. Coach, a couple broader questions here before we let you go. I want to ask you about your recruiting because I know in the previous off seasons you've spent time in Europe recruiting. You're kind of developing some pipelines. Can you just talk about what's that like recruiting in Europe and how you've been able to grow the Mount Olive brand to get some of these international players to come to school?
Yeah, I've been very, very lucky with just different contacts that develop over the years, and being able to provide someone an opportunity to complete their degree while using volleyball as kind of a catalyst to get that goal accomplished. I think that's one of the really cool things about coaching is that at the end of the day, whether they're American student athletes or international student athletes, we're helping provide an opportunity for them to better their lives. And I think that that's something that I really try and sell to our international students in coming to Mount Olive here, as well as our American student athletes when they come here. We try and instill my number one goal for players when they leave our program is I want you to leave a better person than when you came into it. I'm not saying that we recruit, people that are going to have criminal records and things like that, of course, but I'm saying that, I want them to understand what it means to be a good person when they leave our program. And that does a really good job of getting kids interested, and then once they meet the team sells itself. My guys are phenomenal, top to bottom. They do a great job of selling the brand of our school, the brand of our program, what Mount Olive Volleyball is all about, what it means to be a part of this team. And once our recruiting classes meet our incoming players or our returning players, it really, really helps solidify that this is the right choice for them.
And Coach, one final question before we let you go. You look at the season right now, we're about a third of the way through Conference Carolina play. You're in first place. With the way the conference tournament works, the number one seed gets home court advantage throughout the conference tournament. And I want to ask, how important is it for you guys to finish first so you can get that home court advantage in the conference tournament and try to get to the NCAA tournament?
I think that it's huge. I think that anytime you can play at home, it's always a big advantage. You get a better crowd. You're more comfortable. You don't have to worry about getting on a bus and traveling 6-7 hours, staying in a hotel. You can sleep in your own room. You're on your normal schedule. I think those things are really, really important going into the conference tournament. I think that there's a lot of work still still for us to be done in order to make sure that we get a chance to host all the way through conference tournament. We talked yesterday at practice that 8-0 is very different than 16-0. And so we still get to play everybody once. And some of these teams we've got to play away. Some of these teams we have to play at home. We don't play King again now until March 31st. So we have a month until we play them again. We have Barton this weekend, tomorrow, and then we don't play them again until April. So we get a chance to, what I like about our schedule this year is we've kind of had a progression of matches we can learn from going into the more difficult matches of conference. We've had a great progression this week, and, we played King and Leeds McRae, play Barton, and then we play Lewis on Saturday. So it's kind of a build-up of, what skills can we refine going into a match against a ranked opponent. And so I think that that's one of the things that scheduling, the way that we've done it this year, I'm really excited about it. And I think that it's going to help us when we get down to that conference tournament, knowing that, first day you're going to have an easier match, and then it progressively gets tougher.